recording. Okay, video 3 of 3. So we ended with plug, now we do PVH. It's vulnerable. This is not an obvious entry point. This is a great breakout, but into prior fails. Same story. How many times have we said this? Today? Okay, so the Qs, I don't think I need to comment here. So everything I said about every stock applies to the Qs in general. So this is a target that I've had for a while. We've met it almost twice, and I would be buying dips. We left weak points, so it's okay to come back and test those weak points. I am not rushing in. So we do have a lot of stocks reporting this week, and they're big drivers in the QQQ, not to mention any other ticker. So if I wanted to bet on all of them, I would just take a position in the Qs, and I would use 3 weeks out. And I would try to sell covered calls against them for this coming week. So this way I am long, but cautiously so. But I don't know why we're going to rally and why we're going to drop. We have multiple coin flips, and all these purple lines were prior big areas. Okay, so we shouldn't slice through them unless on a giant headline. I don't know what that could be. A negative jobs number would emotionally drive the markets higher. Yes, a negative jobs number. We're going to be applauding people losing their jobs, and it's just not right, but that's how it is. It's un-American, but that's how it is. That's the political environment we're in. Just gross. Okay, Rivian. The credit put spread played out perfectly after much chagrin. I'm an investor in the company for the long term because I think it has the opportunity to sell every car it makes. So the only hiccup with its financial future is within how many cars it can make. So they can make SUVs, trucks, and vans, and they have a buyer for all of them. So I give it better odds than Lucid, by the way, which also played out after much chagrin. So Rivian, I'm not starting longs here, but if I'm long for the long term, I'm not exiting on the spike. If it was a trade and the spike helped me, I would exit. Whatever this is, they're selling rallies. So yes, this is support, but if it loses support, it's going much lower. So don't think that the selling is gone just because it has support. And they are selling rallies. That is a fact. So be careful and respect that price action. SE, good company on paper. I made an argument for it on the way down. It lost us some money on the way down, but that was the whole market's fault. So I can't tell you it's going to be slicing this up. So I would be more interested in buying dips than chasing rips. So if it falls down to 62, I'd be more interested in that. If it loses this, it will come back down to 55, and I'll be interested in that personally. I don't know the company very well. I know it's 3 companies in one. It's like a gaming company, say Microsoft. It's like an Amazon company because it's an online merchant, and I forgot what the third thing is. Oh, a processing payment company like Square. So, and it's successful on all 3 segments. So if this rally gets me out of an investment that has been bad for a long term, and I had iffy about it, I would get out. It's hard to chase it, SE, after so much success short term. This one's stuck in the middle of a very massive zone, so nothing to do. No information from the chart as to which direction it's going to go. Looks like it has support around 27, but they're pivoting around it. Be careful. Shopify, great company. Buying it here, and I'm asking you why. Okay, it's in the breakout, and okay, my arrow points up, but why didn't you buy it here and now you're looking to buy it? It seems like it's an emotional response to something. I don't know what clicked in people's mind that now they feel comfortable about it. We were comfortable about it down here when nobody was. Up here, I'm leery. I would be buying dips. Like, what the hell is this? A double gap again? Yeah. So I'm fairly confident that it will come back down to here. And all these resistance lines will say support lines now. I can move that to here somewhere and duplicate it here and delete this. So now everybody likes it because it's almost at the target. Yeah, not for me. I like the company. I would rather buy dips. Silver Lake, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. A, I don't know what it is. B, it's a Cathy stock, and I'm not about to chase Cathy into anything. Wall Street hates Cathy. Wall Street would try to beat on Cathy every time they can. I think this is a Cathy stock. Anyway, technically, they're trying to make a floor, but this is like just right here. How is this different than here? Nothing. They have prior fails. They have prior fails. So if they take out 17, okay, they can get to 22. And if you get long here, all right, you're long a base. So your stop point would be exit below here, or exit if you lose X%. SLB, I don't know much about the company anymore. As soon as they, like years ago, maybe a decade ago, they left the United States. I don't know much about them. So right now you have a tight box between 60 and 54. I think it loses 54 before it breaks out of 60, but I don't know why I said that, but that's my inclination. If so, a better long is below 52. SMH, everything I said about NVIDIA and AMD applies here, and Micron. So it's in a breakout. It has more upside to go, but that breakout fizzled back here, so I can delete that. Now they're finally doing it, but it's inside of a resistance zone. Look at that failure. Yeah, that was a messy failure back there. I'm going to take this out too. I would buy the dips into 212 and 224. I would not chase the rip. It is available. And this is available. So let me go update the chart. What is this? SMH. So this is semiconductor. So let me repeat. It isn't a breakout, but it's going into the easy part of the breakout is done. So now it's going to be buy dip moments. Snapchat, you couldn't pay me to trade the stock ever again. The management is iffy at best, not to call them bad names. If you don't know it, this is a... Where is that ticker? This is a camera company. This is on their website. Snap is a camera company. That's all I need to hear. Buy camera company. What? Yeah, no. I don't touch this stock. It's going into a prior fail. And it's a nice rally. If they take 12 out, they could get to 14 or 16. You couldn't pay me to invest in this company. I have zero faith in its management. I'm not going to risk money on it. I entered perfectly into a credit spread, and the CEO ruined it for no reason. He came out and updated us between two earnings reports out of the blue that he's going to suck. And he didn't have the decency to tell us how badly he's going to suck. He said, oh, things are bad. We don't know how bad, but we think we can navigate it. What? Okay, the stock fell apart, and I lost money for the members. And that was the last time I touched Snapchat. Bye. Okay, SoFi. I closed my longs. It could continue on higher to, like, say 6.2 or 6.4. I feel like the easy work is done. The reason I closed my long is because I had Palantir, and they were similar stocks, and a couple of other stocks that were similar. So I had to pick one, and I picked the one that had the biggest money on it, and it was the biggest win I had. So I exited it, but I will be buying dips. So I have alerts for myself, where anywhere below 5.4. If it goes below 5, I'll immediately buy. And I will probably buy shares. Okay, so... good company prospects, misunderstood company profile. I think I understand it well. I used to own a company that did about the same thing, and it's a cash cow. The only problem with it is that the fear that is attached from it being a lending company, which I wasn't. Okay, SOL. This is Solana's coin. I'm long Solana. I'm extremely profitable with it because my last entry price was in the 11s. So clearly making money on it, but I'm not out. This stock can be great or nothing. So you've heard of Ethereum. It is the process by which most crypto transactions travel right now. So it's like the SWIFT network for regular banks, which I just used on Friday, which sucks. I bought a car, I sent a big wire out. I have no clue if it got there because the banks closed on Friday night. And I'm at the mercy until Monday. And it left my bank. The recipient doesn't have it. Whereas in Ethereum, transactions are much quicker and they're independent of people. So I would know immediately. So Solana is a competitor to Ethereum process. And SOL, this is the coin for Solana. It got tied to the bankruptcy of that stupid company that went under. And so it got shellacked. If I show you a chart, it was much, much higher. So the first time I bought it was here somewhere, and I closed it up here, and I traded a few times up in the 170s and then in the 40s, and then most lately I've committed to good size of coins down here. So if I'm right and it goes back like a quarter of the way, it'll be the biggest win I've had in a long, long time. And again, whether I have my money at the end or not, that will be left. Now, if it goes back to 120 or 30, I will cash out and take the money out of Crypto.com, because then it would become a serious investment. And I would leave speculative money in there. I will take my initial investment out and play with house money. But I believe in the process. Other people don't. It's coming up into big technical, but I don't think it's about technicality here. So SPY, everything I said about the Qs applies to here. Not an easy entry point. So you see this DP 5 billion. This level months ago was a huge dark pool level worth $5 billion. Yes, FTX. Thanks, Ed. So I think they might have residual memory, this one as well. So this area above us is super tough, and we should get some red ticks there like we did. And we should not be surprised. Like, if you're rushing to see what headline caused this dip, you're not being realistic in your expectations. This is crazy that we cannot tolerate, everybody, as a market, we cannot tolerate a red tick. We're rushing like chickens, running for their lives. What happened? Who said what? Nothing happened. We're allowed to have red ticks. That's why we have these emotional responses that go to the moon and then crash out of nowhere. And we have to attribute everything to a headline. This new investment, this is all social media's fault, because news travels way too fast, whether real or not. So it hits everybody at the same time too fast. Nobody stopping to think about it. The publishing agencies are not thinking twice about publishing anything. So they throw it out there first and then they go verify it later. Because if they don't, their competition will beat them. So they're not evil, but that's the machine we're working with right now. So everything is super emotional. So just how do I use this information to my advantage? I don't become emotional. I try to think like a machine. If I miss out on profits, machines don't get pissed off. If I did the right thing and I missed out on profit, I'm fine. On Friday, I closed a double that could have been 4x, actually 8x. Am I upset that I doubled my money and not 8x? I'm not upset. Literally, that was a Friday trade. If you were in the live room, that was it. Okay. I will have a whole video about the SPY and all of that tonight. Square, same comments about Shopify. I like the company. It's rallying with Bitcoin. So if you're shorting Square, you're shorting Bitcoin. What? Yes. If you believe it or not, pull up a Square chart and PayPal chart. They fell with Bitcoin. Like, why is PayPal falling like it's going out of business? That's because Bitcoin was falling out of control and they were following Bitcoin. It was weird. It's a mistake. So I'm in a buy the dip mode for Square as well. And last long worked, and the long before that worked. One long in the middle of December got under fire, and if you punted it 1 week, you would have made it out like a bandit. Okay, TAN, don't know what that is. Solar company maybe? Middle of a range. I think you're bound between 83 and 78 or 77. Play that range. So you get long towards the 78, you get short, you exit longs, or you get short towards the 83. Until one of the sides breaks out. Target, definitely not an obvious entry point. Look at this. What? Okay, so whenever I see a stock like that, I would never get long into this, especially when we have this and a giant gap and this. So I think if you want to write down a number, is 182. Anywhere between here and 182, there are extreme sellers. So be careful getting long here. Buying dips is good. Selling put spreads is fine. Not good, fine. Good company. I thought it was an entry base here, and we did trade it on the long side, and it played out. I'm not ready to repeat it, though. I would repeat it on dips. Don't know what this is. Okay, so I'm going to make a comment here. One person, super nice person, I'm not going to call you out, asked for 4 tickers that are derivatives of Tesla. I'm going to tell you why. Why the hell am I going to trade 4 tickers that are derivatives of Tesla? And they're not even leveraged. And if it's leveraged, it's a quarter. So Tesla is already leveraged on its own. It moves like a triple leveraged stock. You don't need to go into these junky ETFs. You don't know what's in there. You probably have never traded an ETF that went to zero. I've traded ETFs that disappeared. You wake up one day and they're gone. What happened? Oh, they're out of business. Poof, gone. So please don't do this stuff. This says long Tesla daily ETF 1.25x. That's what this says. I don't know what the hell this is. This is TSL. And I'm going to go through, okay, so let's comment. This is not an obvious entry point, period. Tesla, this is not an obvious entry point. Okay, Tesla, I charted it perfectly for us, like freaking perfectly. No one on this planet did it better than us. And here are my comments. Okay, this was the comment from the earnings. I said, based on the earnings, we have downside pressure to 139 and 141. It fell right into that after the earnings. And support there. Resistance scattered around 145 and 50. It fell from that. And then I said, important note, my interpretation of the options action before the day of the earnings is that they opened the door for a big move in either direction. So I would not sell an iron condor. I said they opened the door for a big move in either direction. And boy, did they open the door. They reported, they touched both sides of resistance and support, and then they went to the moon. So it is not much cheaper than Tesla. Okay, so I said you can trade Rivian as a cheap way to Tesla. I would rather do that than to go to these tickers that I don't know what's in them. I'm afraid of what's in them. I don't know what's in them. How liquid are they? So this one, what is this? TSLI, Granite Shares. Who is Granite Shares? And how reliable are they? What's in this? Is it 1-to-1? I'm not so sure. So it is, I get, also, how many are you trading? If you have 4 of them, why don't you just trade Tesla? Anyway, my comments is I would never touch these until they get either heavier action or more legit. And even then, it's 1x. Anyway, there's a TSLL. That is a 1.5x. So trade Tesla. Okay, so the cheap argument is that you're taking the risk into some company direction, and we don't know anything about it. How good is it under duress? If the market crashes, will this work the way it's supposed to? There's a whole bunch of question marks. So the question for Tesla really would answer everything on that TSL, TSLI, TSLL, TSLA. Tesla is broken out and now is into resistance zone. And TSLS. Okay, so here's another comment. If you're short like BT, if you're shorting Tesla, fundamentally, I think you're going to lose a lot of money. So buying the dip in this one may not be the right thing to do. Temporarily using this to short Tesla, fine. But if you're shorting, if you bought here and you're adding here, you're making a mistake. If you're buying here to short Tesla and you will exit if this falls to here, fine. So use that. My recommendation is to avoid all these stickers. But the comments are, don't short Tesla fundamentally. Never short Tesla fundamentally. The guy will beat you. He's better than you. Yes, he built like 6,000 companies that are changing the world. Whether you respect him or not, he's better than you. He will beat you in the long term if you're a bear of Elon Musk. That's a fact. When people put their emotions in the way. I don't like him, but I definitely am not betting against him. All right, so Taiwan Semi. Going into a pivotal zone from a long time. This is a decent range. So if you can make money from that range somehow, selling a put spread or something, I don't know what to do with this company right here. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so I don't know why it doesn't let me go to extended hours without going lower. Buy the dip mode, I guess, but I don't know much about it. You can short it. A couple of people, I remember, a couple of people are short. So you can be short. I would stop out above 96. Tyson Foods. Looks like it wants to break out. If they can hold this zone, then they can tackle this and that. But, it looks like a tough spot. Also, make sure this is a headline stock. I remember hearing about a lot of chicken disease headlines and whatever. Aren't we having a problem with eggs in California? That's funny, Ed. Probably, yeah. There is a problem in California about having eggs. Maybe it is everywhere. So if that's the case, is there a headline for chicken? So be careful. Take-Two Interactive, it's going, didn't they have a buyout from somebody? Buy the dip was the right thing to do. Up here, no. It's too high for me up here. Yes, we eat a lot of eggs. We buy eggs by huge cartons. My son and I eat a lot of eggs. So, and I mean like a lot. So this is vulnerable for this kind of move. Although the resistance is scattered. Twilio. I was long Twilio. Again, I closed my long for a slight green because I was running out of time and I missed out on upside. But I'm not chasing it now because I missed out. I would buy the dip into 55 or 56. Twilio is an excellent company. It grows fast and it spends everything it has in order to grow. Unity, if I'm stuck long and this got me to even, if I double down or something, I'll be out so fast it's not even funny. It's too small of a company for it to have respect from Wall Street. Trust me on that one. But if you know the company and you want to be all in for the long term, I'm not going to sway you out of it. From a trading perspective, I would have bailed. UNH, I think it still can go a lot lower. Although it is now stuck in a big range. Good support, a lot of resistance. So Iron Condor maybe, but it's not for me. And this one will move the Dow. Valley, shortable, in my opinion. If you trust my, if you twist my arm, I would short it responsibly, as long as there's no headline coming. Oh, there's a headline here somewhere. So I don't know what that is and when. So 216. Buy the dip into $16 area would be better. I don't know what VC is. Going into a place where it's failed 3 times is not smart. So take this out. Maybe you'll have the opportunity to take this out and then break out. I think it's more prudent to buy dips in this one. How many times have I said that today? Oh my God, I'm sick and tired of myself saying it. Buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Because we've rallied so far in a lot of things. VIX. So I'm not sure the intent of why you're asking, but I'll answer very simply. It's too low. It's below its average. So the VIX average is like 19.6-ish, the lifetime average. Can we all agree that we have more than average risks according to the media? If so, then the VIX is too low. So how do I use that information? I do not buy calls in the VIX to short markets. I've never been able to make it work. If I had to protect my portfolio, I would be buying calls in the VIX about 60 days out. They cost $340, whatever. I haven't priced them, but they usually are about under $400. So if I buy a couple of calls to protect a $100,000 account, I mean, if you cannot spend $500-600 to protect a $100,000 account, then you shouldn't insure your car because you're paying more to cover your car, which is $30,000 maybe, maybe 15, maybe 50. Same deal. It's an asset. You need to be able to spend money. You don't do it all the time here, because there are some times where it's risky, and here it's cheap. Let's say I buy those calls. In about a week, I decided, you know what? I'm not worried anymore. I can sell them for a little bit of green, a little bit of red. So if you ask me for that purpose, awesome. That is the right way to think of VIX. I'm not shorting the market by buying VIX calls. If you want to short the market, buy puts or put spreads in the SPY. Much more efficient way to trade. This one is pretty tricky. It's mojoed. It's not straightforward. Yeah, this one is going into a prior fail, which is also a catalyst. They're buying dips, so as long as the support holds around 1150, 60, you can take this out. But this has been a failure for a while, so be careful. How about a dip before you go back up there? Walmart, I would never trade Walmart for a very simple reason. I like to sell things, right? And it never has enough premium for me to sell. So if you see the way to trade Walmart, if you see a swing trade opportunity that's going to go like $5 or $6, then buy in the money calls out in time, like 2 months out, or puts, whichever. In this case, that was the day the market broke, the NYSE broke. They pretty much gave you the high. So anywhere up here, you don't get long because you know that this was a top on a broken market. And they gave you the base. So you can trust the support in Walmart. It's a great company financially. The operating of the company is horrific. The Walmart next to me, half the shelves are empty all the time. But that's because they're making money off online. And I'm going to say this now. Walmart can be a $128 stock if they lose 138. This is on the table, but it's not my forecast. There is good support here, and there is good resistance here. So it's not for me. I don't know what to do with that information. Win. way too high for my taste. I knew that there was a breakout. They're cutting through a lot of resistance, but the higher you go without a check back, the more likely you're going to be the last person, like the person standing when the music stops and there's no chair to jump into. So you can't really short it based on that, but if you twist my arm, I would take a bearish position by doing something. So, oh wait, earnings? Yeah, I wouldn't do anything. The earnings are coming soon. So you're taking your hand. There's a lot of guessing for the next couple of weeks. So I don't know what they're going to say and how people are going to react to it. XBI, I threw it in there. Nobody asked. I threw it in there. Not an obvious entry point. And because somebody was talking about the XLV and all of that, so I figured I'd look at the XBI. Dips might be bought into 86. A lot of resistance above, but it's scattered. So this did not play out a long time ago. They dipped and never stopped dipping, and the dip is going too long. So eventually, if the XBI breaks out of 95.30, oh boy, the markets are probably at all-time highs, on their way to all-time highs. Ooh-wee, breakout. XLE, let me be nice. I will short a next pop, just like Chevron and Exxon. The last one I did was an iron condor for us, and it worked. In fact, I did 2 or 3 of them, and they're very hairy trades. So don't trade the XLE if you don't have a strong stomach. It moves very fast out of nowhere and in both directions. So XLV is into support, although I don't know why they did this here. So there's always that likelihood. If it loses 132, 131, it could come down to 128. I would be interested a lot down here because it's a good ETF. Look at how solidly they're selling rallies. So I predict then the next approach of this zone right here will be sold hard to maintain this descending channel versus the floor. So the range is getting tighter, and the decision will be easier. It will be soon, either this dip to gain better footing or rip a little bit and to start building an ascending channel. So right now we have a descending channel. They need to go sideways and start building an ascending channel before they lose the support. That's as easily as I can explain it. It's a technical thing. I don't know about the companies themselves. XRT, way too high. Way too high on the short-term basis. This is a weekly chart. So if you're a perma bear or somebody that believes that the SPX is going to be below 3,000, you believe that this is going to lose this, because that will bring the retail sector down to here. Now you have a problem up here. This is a weekly chart. That's the big picture. So if I go to a daily chart, you can see how it's going into prior fails, but it kind of also just broke out. So dips will be bought into 64. And if that's the case, they can come back and inch their way into chipping at that. And again, above here, that's the same equivalent comment as the XLV. That ooh-wee comment, which means the markets are gone in a good way. Cover portfolio Brasilio. What is the ticker? Zoom. I would stay long from the bottom. I like this company long term. That's all there is to it. I don't know where their earnings were. It's going into prior fails. Dips will be bought. I would rather buy dips than what? PBR. I did PBR. Okay, so I think that was the last one, right? Yep. So this is the last one. I'll stop the video. I did PBR, and I don't like it. It's in the middle of the range. I don't know what to do with it. So I'll stop the video. Thanks for watching at home.